A human male reproductive system, as the word, it is a system. That means it involves so many factors and a sexual reproduction in case of the human being. So, students, I am Mr. P.M. Suttar, working as a lecturer in biology at Mahavir Pandram Salunkhe Junior College, Manerajuri. And to the last lecture, I observed some introduction about the male reproductive system, and this system involves mainly or basic things of the system. A pair of testes are there. In that testis, I am discussing the histology of the testis, that is the internal structure of the testis in longitudinal section as well as in transverse section. Then, after testis, it requires to discuss about the accessory ducts. Many ducts are involved in that. And finally, different glands are there which secretes a particular substance requires for successful fertilization. So, a male reproductive system basically divides into three major parts, that is, we have to discuss about the testis, second about the accessory duct, and third about the different glands. So last time we have seen some part of the testis or internal structure of the testis. As testis, these are the male gonad. A pair of testes present in a human male reproductive system, and both the testes lie when in the early stage of the development of the embryo, that is in the fetal life of the organism. At that time, a pair of testes, they are present in the region of the abdomen, and later on they descend from the region of the abdomen into the pair of sac-like structure called as scrotum. So initially in the fetus, both the testes they lie in the region of the abdomen, but later on they descend in the sac-like or pouch-like structure called as scrotum. So in the mature, here in the scrotum, these two pair of testes are there. And main function of the testes, they are responsible to produce the male gametes, that is sperms or spermatids. So that is main function of the testes. And in the region of the scrotum, these testes are there. Then these are a pair having a kidney shaped one, and about the size 4 to 5 cm long and 2 to 3 cm wide and 3 cm in the thickness. That is the size of the testes. Such two testes are present in the male reproductive system of the male. Then internally, this testis having a transverse section. Last time we have discussed that one, but I have to repeat here. Internally, the testis, it is covered by outer collagenous connective tissue called as tunica albuginea, and this tunica albuginea, outer tunica albuginea, and it is externally covered by tunica vaginalis and internally by tunica musculosa. So tunica albuginea, it divides into 200 to 300 testicular lobules. So 200 to 300 testicular lobules are there, and each lobule having 1 to 4 highly coiled seminiferous tubules. So seminiferous tubules are very important structure, and these such seminiferous tubules are present in the region of the testicular lobules. So 1 to 4 highly coiled seminiferous tubules are present in each lobule, and this seminiferous tubule, what about the seminiferous tubule? This seminiferous tubule consisting a germ, here the germ cells, and mixing with that the Sertoli cells are also there. So each seminiferous tubule, you have to concentrate on the structure of the seminiferous tubule. Each seminiferous tubule internally with the interstitial cells in between the seminiferous tubule, and a seminiferous tubule having a germinal epithelium. These are the germinal epithelial cells. And these germinal epithelial cells are also called as spermatogonial cells. So the main function of the germinal epithelial cells, they divides by meiotically to produce actually sperms or male gametes. So different stages of the development of the germinal epithelial cells or spermatogonial cells. And these spermatogonial cells, initially these are a diploid one. Those spermatogonial cells converts into primary spermatocytes, which are also diploid one. After that, the secondary spermatocytes, which are haploid one. These secondary spermatocytes which are haploid. Here actual the reduction division takes place. Those spermatogonial cells or germinal epithelial cells, initially these are with diploid set of chromosomes, and by following a different gradual developing stages, the spermatogonial cells converts into primary spermatocytes, converts into secondary spermatocytes, and these secondary spermatocytes having single set of chromosomes, haploids, and these secondary spermatocytes converts into spermatids, and later on finally they converts into the sperms. So here one essential requirement of the male reproductive system, that is the production of the male gametes, and these male gametes are nothing but the sperms which are formed by following the reduction division of the germinal epithelial cells or spermatogonial cells. So here one part completes as the sperms develops, but it requires the survival or nutrition for the development, and who will there to supply the nourishment. And here the cells of Sertoli cells, they provide the nourishment for developing sperms. So the main function of the Sertoli cells, they are useful to supply the nourishment for developing sperms. That is the function of the Sertoli cells. And here the internal structure of the seminiferous tubule is there. So when we discuss about the internal structure of the testis, here we know the function of the seminiferous tubules is to produce the sperms as well as the Sertoli cells useful to supply the nourishment for the male gametes or sperms. So here part of the male reproductive system completes, that is development of the male gametes. Then different factors are also required to complete the successful fertilization, to achieve the final process of the fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete. It requires, or the second stage required to carry the formed sperms, because in the male reproductive system we know here the testes are there, here the penis is there, a common passage that is urethra is there, and here the male gametes, that is sperms, are produced in the region of the testis. Here the testes are there. In the region of the testis, sperms are there. So it requires to carry the sperms from testis up to the fusion of the female gamete. So to carry the sperms from testis up to the copulation, it requires the ducts. Not only the single duct is useful or beneficial, but also it involves number of accessory ducts which are. So different accessory ducts are required to carry the formed male gametes from the testis up to the region where it requires for the fusion, as well as to carry this male gametes. The ducts are required. In addition to that, different glands are there which secretes a particular substances. These are also required. मग इथे accessory duct मध्ये duct म्हणजे वाहिन्या. आता टेस्टिस मध्ये मेल गॅमेट्स तयार होतात, परंतु ऍक्च्युअल फ्युजन साठी मेल गॅमेट्सची आवश्यकता दुसऱ्या ठिकाणी आहे. मग ज्या ठिकाणी हे मेल गॅमेट्स तयार होतात टेस्टिसमध्ये, त्या टेस्टिस पासून वाहून नेण्याची गरज आहे. मग वाहून नेण्यासाठी ज्या काही डक्ट्स आहेत, दीज आर कॉल्ड एज ॲक्सेसरी डक्ट्स. मग आता वाहून नेत असताना द कॅरियर्स आर देअर, डिफरंट डक्ट्स लाईक द रेटे टेस्टिस, वासा इफ्रन्शिया, वास डिफरन्शिया, epididymis, ejaculatory duct and urethra. These are different ducts which are involved in the reproductive system. So all the seminiferous tubules, here are different seminiferous tubules, so many thousands of seminiferous tubules are there, and these different seminiferous tubules, they come to form the network or the joints to form the rete testis. There are about 12 to 25 tubules arising from the rete testis or vas efferentia. So, rete testis 12 to 20, 12 ते 20 rete testis एकत्र येऊन त्याच्यापासून vas efferentia तयार होते, and they carry vas efferentia, they carry the sperms from the testis and open into the epididymis. vas efferentia मधून येऊन त्या epididymis मध्ये ओपन होतात. And the epididymis, region of epididymis divides into upper, middle and lower. And the epididymis, upper epididymis is called as caput epididymis, middle is called as carpus epididymis and lower is called as cauda epididymis. So the sperms undergoes maturation in the region of the epididymis. Testis मध्ये sperms तयार होतात. तयार झालेले स्पर्म्स हे सेमिनिफेरस ट्यूब्यूल मध्ये तयार झाल्यानंतर रेटे टेस्टिस मध्ये कलेक्ट केले जातात आणि या रेटे टेस्टिस पासून वास इफ्रन्शिया आणि वास इफ्रन्शिया मधून ते इपिडायडॅमिस मध्ये, वास इफ्रन्शिया मधून कुठे येणार, इपिडायडॅमिस रिजन मध्ये येणार. सो दिस इज द इपिडायडॅमिस रिजन and the region of the epididymis. मग epididymis चा region पुन्हा डिवाइड होतो upper epididymis, middle epididymis आणि lower epididymis. upper epididymis ला आपण caput epididymis म्हणतो, middle epididymis ला carpus आणि lower epididymis ला cauda epididymis म्हणतो. So what functions perform in the region of the epididymis? आता प्रत्येक ठिकाणी काम वेगवेगळं आहे. या टेस्टिस मधील सेमिनिफेरस ट्यूब्यूल मध्ये मेल गॅमेट तयार करण्याचे काम झाले. मेल गॅमेट्सला नरिशमेंट देण्याचे काम सुद्धा सर्टोली सेल्सने इथे केले. या सेमिनिफेरस ट्यूब्यूल पासून रेटे टेस्टिस मध्ये मेल गॅमेट्स वाहून नेण्याचे काम, रेटे टेस्टिस पासून वास इफ्रन्शिया मध्ये आले, वास इफ्रन्शिया पासून त्या एपिडायडॅमिसच्या रिजन मध्ये. मग इपिडायडॅमिसच्या रिजन मध्ये अपर एपिडायडॅमिस, मिडल एपिडायडॅमिस आणि लोअर एपिडायडॅमिस, ज्याला आपण कॅपिट, कौडा आणि कार्पस एपिडायडॅमिस असं म्हणतो. मग which function perform in the region of epididymis? Here in the region of epididymis, the maturation phase, the male gametes completes its maturation phase in the region of the epididymis. या एपिडायडॅमिस मध्ये मॅच्युरेशन फेज जी आहे ती मॅच्युरेशन फेज यांची कंप्लीट होते मेल गॅमेटशी. सो फ्रॉम एपिडायडॅमिस later on the male gametes carry through the duct called as vas differentia, and these vas differentia finally they extended or they goes through the region of the urinary, surrounding the urinary bladder, and there this vas differentia along with the one another duct which carries, अजून एक डक्ट याच्यामध्ये येते की जी इजॅक्युलेटरी डक्ट ज्याला आपण म्हणतो, सेमिनल वेसिकल ज्याला आपण म्हणतो, ते that region of the seminal vesicle they joins the ejaculatory duct, and that ejaculatory duct passes through the prostate gland. Ejaculatory duct prostate gland मधून पास होते and opens into the region of the urethra. So that urethra provides the common passage called as common passage for transfer of the urine, to carry the urine as well as semen. So that urethra is the common passage to carry the urine as well as to carry the gametes. So that is also called as urinogenital duct, because that duct carries urine as well as that duct carries the gametes. So that common passage is there, so it is called as urinogenital duct. So that urinogenital duct is long in case of the male, and whereas it is shorter in case of the female, and it opens in outside called as urethral mucus or urethral orifice. So all the accessory duct except the urethra are present in the pairs. That urethra is the only single duct, whereas remaining all ducts, they are present always in the pairs. So the function of the accessory duct to carry the male gametes, to carry the urine, to carry some accessory substances required for fertilization. So that performs the function to transport of the substances which are formed up to where they requires. So that is the function of different accessory duct. To the next lecture we have discussed about different glands, how the glands perform the function by the glands required for fertilization. Thank you.